Hey, I think it's probably a good time to start talking about a little of our own experience because we are not only providers of good customer service, but we're also customers, right? Joel, maybe I'll move to you. What companies or company have, do you have some stories to share your own experience?
So I've several. So I'll start with my personal one, and then I'll talk about a couple that I had the privilege to serve and helping them with their customer experience with their customers. From a personal experience, Southwest Airlines. I used to travel a fair amount for business, and always enjoyed Southwest. I understand their seating approach isn't for everyone, but one of the things I admire about their service is just the insane amount of empathy that their employees have. Just the number of times I was able to witness flight attendants or pilots who could read the cues of the passengers on a plane and know when somebody was frightened because maybe it was their first trip, or know that somebody was on their way to something that may not be an unpleasant experience, or somebody was on the way to celebrate something, and the way that they were able to lean into that experience and help that person have a better experience overall. Southwest Airlines is obviously known for some of their tongue-in-cheek humor as they do their safety announcements, but also just that's part of that whole thing I was talking about. Smiling in the resting state. You look at the flight attendants on Southwest Airlines, and 90% of the time, which is much higher than any other airline I've ever been on, they're smiling. They're smiling as they go about their work, and they really, as a company, and you can see it in a lot of different artifacts. They understand that customers are their business. If you open the in-flight magazine, yes, you'll see a profile of one of their employees, but you will also see a profile of a customer. How
Oh,
many other airlines do that? How many other airlines put their customers front and center and say, here's who we serve, as a reminder, not just to themselves, but to everybody else. So I really admire them from a personal experience.
I love that.
I'll just pick one of my others in West. You and I talked about this before, but Chick-fil-A. So I do consider myself very privileged to have served Chick-fil-A as one of my clients for many years, and just in awe of the lengths that they go to find the right people to bring into their organization. So Corey was talking about resumes before. Chick-fil-A competes for the same labor as McDonald's and Burger King and Subway and the other fast food companies, that if you ask some of the franchise owners in those organizations, because I've asked them, why can't you find good people to serve your restaurants? The labor market it's horrible, and teenagers don't want to work. Teenagers don't want to provide service. Chick-fil-A is pulling from the same labor pool, but how do they go about it? One of the things is they look for is some history of non-work experiences that indicate this is somebody that is a leader. This is somebody that serves, and it comes at a cost to them, not as in terms of a higher wage rate, but in terms of schedule flexibility. So they will look for that teenager who has lots of extracurricular commitments, who's in sports, who's in band, in clubs at school, who is active in their church. All of those things, because that is an indicator to them of somebody who enjoys being around other people. And if they've got leadership roles, then they enjoy serving others. And then Chick-fil-A will accommodate that person's schedule because they know they're getting the right people in. Other providers, they do the opposite. They say, you will accommodate our schedule as an employee, and they get folks that don't have as many commitments. Another thing that they really talk about that I think sets them apart is service as a calling. And they really believe that they don't just serve chicken sandwiches. They are there to serve others. That is part of, and it is not just a mantra. It is really how they operate their business. As I talked about at the beginning, that idea of servitude. It is real. It's a real thing for them. They are serving people every day. And the final bit is that empathy piece. And I think I shared this video with you, West, and maybe we need to put it in the blog for the podcast. But they have a video that they produced really just for internal purposes, which is Everybody's Got a Story, I think is what it's called.
I'll make sure there's a link here in the video for people as well.
Awesome.
If you're watching, here's the link. It's coming.
So in that video, it shows people coming into a Chick-fil-A restaurant and has little thought bubbles over their heads about their life experiences. And it's teaching their team that and this goes back to what I was saying at the beginning about how do you define good customer service. It's not just the type of business that you're in or the type of customer you serve. It's what they bring to each and every transaction that can determine what can make for a good customer service experience. And so I admire them for the lengths that they go to find the right people, to make service more than just a sideline, that's making a higher calling, and the amount of empathy that they show for their customers, and how they explain that empathy and the need for empathy to all their employees.
The one that sticks out to me is my credit card company. Capital One is a credit card that we use. And we have some other ones too. And what comes to my mind is the difference between two in particular. And, any interaction I've ever had with Capital One, the people have been pleasant. They address my need. They ask if I need anything else. But another part of my experience with them doesn't have to do with any human interaction. It has to do with alerts I get on my phone or via email saying, hey, this is some weird activity on your card. You better check this out. Or this one's really weird. We're not going to do it until, we won't allow this transaction till you say it, that it's okay. They're really, really good at it. And I don't get hit with a bunch of nonsense. I don't get hit with a bunch of things that don't matter. They keep it to business. When I have had to call in situations, they've protected our account. I've just had a really good experience with them, and I keep using their card because I like the people that I've worked with. I don't know them. They're customer service reps in a call center somewhere, but they've been really good. To me, it shows a couple things. Number one, to be a truly great service providing company is top to bottom. Everybody has to embrace it. Everybody has to live it, because that one person who was grumpy could cost you a customer at any day of the week. And we've all done it, right? We've probably all moved our business elsewhere for some reason in our personal lives or our business lives, because that one person was having a bad day. Can have dramatic impact down the line. And then the other point that's interesting to me about that example is that a lot of that customer service I just mentioned didn't come from a person. It came from systems and automated things that were set up. It was followed up with by a person.
That is interesting.
It was kind of systemic in that way, I guess you could say.
I really like that. I'd never given that in consideration, that it's not just the people, the experience directly with people for customer service, but that the systems themselves can actually have a huge impact in our experience. Wow. Yeah, I hadn't given that a thought, but that's really important for people to understand. For companies trying to offer good customer service, we live in a systems world now, right? How are those systems affecting how your customers feel? Wow. I really appreciate you sharing that. And I know that our listeners and our viewers do too. And we are out of time. So in the interest of respecting both of your time, thank you so much for taking the time to actually do this interview today. And for everyone that's listened in today, I know that you've gotten some gold nuggets for yourself when it comes to customer service. You can get more information and more learning at www.tigerpaw.com. Just look for the resources tab and you'll find some additional learning materials, both in podcast as well as blog format and of course video.